hemp leaves. And the bottom is a Japanese box design. Okay, follow me. Guatemala on the table here. Our members weaving in the little gallery. Bring a chair if you need to sit. Oh, good timing. Hi. We're just about to start through the exhibit. And here, go ahead. Sit, Vicki, you're fine. I'm gonna be waving my hand over the top of your head. That's okay. You're fine there. If you need a chair, just grab one and drag it in here. The sequiny piece in the corner there is from Haiti. It's one of the voodoo principles, group of deities that traveled with the slaves that got sent to the Caribbean area, and some of whom ended up in Haiti. The piece here with the little cowrie shells is an over-the-shoulder scarf shawl for a Sumba woman. You can see a couple of Sumba ladies in the back corner. Thank you, Vicki. My Vanna White. This piece is really interesting. It came in an estate with absolutely no information about it. And I just happened to be going through a Textile Museum journal and found this little picture in the corner there of this woman wearing this piece as an apron. It's wool, it's tie-dyed, and it's woven in strips and stitched together with the pretty colors.
What
for
country?
Turkey. Sorry, Turkey. Yeah, surprise, surprise. So our study collection is meant to be studied. So you're welcome to feel just about everything in the collection, except the little grave dolls here. I'll do the Vanna White on these guys. The fabrics on these little dolls are all maybe 1,000 years old. The stripy fabric is typical of everyday skirts for women, and the little pieces are probably left over from the grave robbers going through the graves looking for gold and sort of tossing the textiles off to the side. They were preserved because these burials were in very dry sand. This little piece, apron on the mommy doll with the baby doll, is a tapestry weave. They all have different things going on. We got a couple of mommy dolls, and we got one flute player. Oh, I wanted to talk about the fabric around there. The women in this culture, in the Paracas area, wore these cotton, loosely looped head scarves.
In what country is this?
This is Peru.
Peru.
Okay. Yeah. And this is Bolivia. This is the Halka culture, again, the same one that's on the door of the cabinet in the other room. There are two little persons on either side of the fireplace here, and these are from Chimayo. They're tapestry woven in this direction. They're from the 1940s. One of them's black, one of them's white. And these two pieces are from Guatemala. This one is from Nebach. There's a picture of a Nebach woman. And this one is from Chichicastenango. This one, this brown, is natural colored cotton. And it's such a short fiber that it is not feasible to spin industrially. So whenever you see natural brown cotton, you know that has been spun by hand. This is a special technique that they do in Chichicastenango, which is a lot like a velvet. It's a bit of a float in the top. And a lot of the older pieces were silk. I'm not sure parts of it. There is some silk in this one, but most of it is cotton. And these floral designs came from English needlepoint magazines that somehow found their way to Chichicastenango way up in the hills. And you also know this is a chichi because of the sunburst where the head comes out. And these little epaulets on the side are moon imagery. And it's woven in panels. And all the panels on this one, which is quite unusual, are for selvage weave. There's no fringe. And there's no cutting. And in Peru, and still even today, they don't cut things. They feel that textiles are alive, and that would be akin to murder, cutting into things. I want to say about the Nibah piece that we think cultures are static, so that Chichi should always look like this and Nibah should probably not always look like that, because that is a very modern piece. That's fashion happening there. It's very recent. They're typically in Nibah, the backgrounds are white, but what is typical to Nibah are these fantastic colors and these really big birds. This beautiful piece here is from Sri Lanka. It's a sari. And I love the way it reflects the light differently. And that is because one direction, and I'm not sure which, is that bright pink magenta. And the other direction is the orange yellow. And together they're making this really interesting conversation happen. And this is the part that hangs down that you see when somebody wears it. And that's how it looks on the back side. This is not home production. This is not something that's easy to do on just a regular loom at home. So this is done probably in a factory somewhere. It's a kind of a brocade weave that goes all the way from one side to the other. Whereas these brocades are what we call discontinuous. They don't go all the way from one side to the other. So whenever you see changes of color, that's the only place that color is happening. Very, very slow process.
So is that are they picking up?
Yes, it's pickup. So the background is this red, in this case, and all this color is individually added over the top of the red.
Whereas this sari, this goes from selvage to
Selvage to selvage. Yep. That's Roger's right. We have our little southeast.
I had a good teacher.
Yeah, a couple of them. This is our Southeast Asian. I try to have the world here in our different textile collection shows. So this is a little girl's outfit from Hmong people that are still living in Vietnam. And it's indigo dyed cotton, and this, the little vesty thing has been waxed. That's why it's so shiny. Let me flip it around.
Is it wax or is it egg white?
Oh, hi, Adrian. This one is wax. And the reason I know it is I got it from the people who collected it, and they knew that. But Adrian's right. A lot of times you see this shiny indigo fabric, and it's because it's been beaten with egg white on the surface to give the shine. The pants are, I'm not sure. They are definitely Southeast Asian construction, so like they would themselves wear. But there's this suspicious industrially woven cotton bits here. Who knows? Maybe somebody went shopping. And then it has the beautiful little bitty tiny cross stitch, so typical to the Southeast Asian groups. This piece has a great story. It was given to us along with a whole bunch of costumes by the Pickle Family Circus people. And it came, that we got them just before Halloween, so we thought, oh boy, a Halloween costume sale. So we put this piece on the flyer that we sent out, And we immediately got an email response. That is a traditional woman's vest from Macedonia. Who knew? So it quickly came out of the costume sale and went into the collection. This lovely item here, really, I welcome you to go around and feel things. You need to feel this one in particular. It's pineapple fiber. It's from the Philippines. Those of you who knew Doug Elliott, it was Doug Elliott's shirt. He wore it when he lived there. I don't know about the stitchery, if it's if it's machine. I suspect it's machine, and it's got some really beautiful cut work. The perfect sort of thing for that kind of hot climate. This piece here is another really sweet story, actually very sad story. This is a little boy's kimono, and it's made to expand as the child grows. It's cotton, it's doubly caught. Mari Yamaguchi thinks it's dyed with mud. And it came recently from Holly Harris, who bought it in auction in New York and who traced it down and discovered that it and a bunch of other Japanese things were confiscated during World War II from a Japanese importer in Boston. He lost everything. It was sold at auction and he didn't benefit from that. So it's kind of a sad story, but we're glad to have it. This piece we have several mystery pieces, and we're thinking about doing a mystery show and just getting it all up on the wall and hope, like the Macedonian vest, that somebody recognizes it and says where it's from. We don't know. Things turn up here. They just get delivered, and we don't get information with them a lot of the time. We did a thing where you take a picture and you go online, and it came back as Hungarian, which I think is highly probable because of this kind of floral design here. At the same time, I have a very favorite book here called World Textiles, and there's pictures of one very similar from Afghanistan and one very similar from Uzbekistan on the same page in here somewhere. Love that book. The pictures are, and I gotta tell you, everything you're hearing from me came out of books. That's how I know this stuff, except, in cases like this where we take pictures. This is a Chinese wedding skirt. It's from the late 1800s. In remarkably good shape, and it's all really, really, really fine stitchery. It's done in a stitch called forbidden stitch because it made people go blind because it's so tiny. And it's got also couching and other stuff, and it's on a damask woven background. The damask is very similar to the piece from Sri Lanka. We always like to put out the books. These are the people that I got the piece from Vietnam, Marion and Josh of Above the Fray. And they get tours. And this is one of our newest additions to the collection. It came from Scotty Lyon and Harry Van Ornum. And it is two pieces sewn together. It was hand-spun linen grown by this woman, Carrie or Christina. Will you look under the corner there? Yeah, right there, Christina.
Snail trail,
Here,
right?
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
The woman's
Didn't you
name,
weave
is it,
snail trail?
is it Galbraith?
I remember.
Harry's mom had sold estate things. And this was one of the pieces that she had, and she has just enough information about it. We figure it's late 1800s. She grew the linen, hand spun it all. She grew the sheep that produced the wool that did the orange, which is dyed in madder. And she wove the thing, and it's a pattern, an overshot. We call these overshots. It's an overshot pattern called Wandering Vine or Snail's Trail, and it just so happens in our current weaving class, we're actually doing a very much bigger version of this lovely piece here. And the woman's name is Galbraith or something like that, and Marta McKenzie is trying to run her down. Because we don't know where she is from.
Calbreath, yeah.
Calbraith with a C.
Breath,
Yeah.
with a C-A-L-B-R-E-A-T-H.
Yeah. So far, Marta's got her in,
Well, it was her aunt that was
Yeah.
30 years ago.
yeah, anyway, we have a little bit of information, but we don't know for sure where it's from. But it's most likely Southern.
Oh.
And Harry's mom was in Florida at the time, which also kind of leads me to believe that it came out of that part of the South. Behind Adrian is another one of these pieces that just turned up with no information. It's a quilt, it's a log cabin. We don't know anything else more about it. Anybody who knows old fabrics, can you help us out? I think it might be 40s. I don't know for sure. I also think it might be dyed with tea. If you look at the background, it's got suspicious, sort of tannic looking colors there, so I think it's probably tea dyed.
But it hasn't disintegrated.
No, yeah, so maybe not so old.
Well, no, I'm just
I
thinking the
don't know.
tannic acid could, deteriorate the fabric.
I don't know, they look like the kind of fabrics that might be from the 40s, but I don't know fabrics for quilting enough to know about that. And then this piece is one of my absolute treasures in the collection. It's 10 feet of Cuba culture dance skirt. I'm gonna take this guy off the wall so we can pass it around. And I think it's a man's skirt, although men and women wear them. And originally they are 20 feet, usually about 20 feet worth of raffia palm. And the raffia is woven in rectangles about this size, maybe a little bit bigger, by men on really interesting kind of looms. And then it's patchworked together, and it's a bit like a quilting party. It's when one woman decides they're gonna make a skirt, and then she enlists all her extended family people to do parts. And then they get all the parts back together and sew them into, in this case, 10 feet worth of skirt. This one is a technique that's called velvet, but in fact, it starts out with one of the raffia squares or rectangles that the men weave, and then the women stitch between the intersections of warps and wefts, those of you that are weavers, so that you don't really see a whole lot on the back side because it's in between, and then they take the knife and scruff it up so that it gets kind of fluffy. And this piece over here, I'm coming around the corner at you, sorry, step on in where you can hear. This piece is another piece out of the skirts. It's rare that you get a hold of a skirt, even half of a skirt. So I was thrilled to get this. It came from Pat Moore, some of you. She had a shop down on Franklin Street, and when she left, she gave this to me. It was coming all apart. We had a young woman, we traded her some tuition reduction to restore it. And so she stitched it back together. It's actually got some places before she did the restoration where somebody used iron-on tape to hold the thing together. This piece, this area is beaten bark. Not unusual in Central Africa. Especially Uganda, they actually wore a lot of bark cloth in Uganda. So this is beaten bark, this is little patches of the raffia, again with this really sweet little cut work and wrapping. They're big on the seams. Seams are a nice design element. And so this is the front of the thing, and you can also tell that by looking at the back where they, did the little star stitches and hopped around on the back there. Yeah, and you see again there, you know, seams in this one too, and little bitty patches of raffia cloth. Feel this, it's really interesting. Okay, that's this one. We're gonna show off our mostly contemporary tapestries next month because we have a tapestry class going on. And in the little gallery, as I might have mentioned, we have members' weavings right now, including a very nice table full of Adrian Nicolaisen things, including a beautiful book that she made showing off some of her fabrics. So feel free to poke around in there, and if you want me to talk about things in there, I am available.
Excellent.
Yeah.